I'm Amanda Knight, and this is my Elmwood. I'd like to tell you about the longest running missing persons case in Memphis, Tennessee. Jasper Smith was born in Pulaski, Tennessee, and whenever he was in his 30s, he moved to Memphis. He started working for a widow named Mary Moore. She had inherited a good bit of money from her late husband, who had died. He was either murdered or had committed suicide. It was a little unknown. When Jasper started working for Mary, he increased her wealth, and they eventually got married. Mary had two siblings, a sister and a brother. The sister had a couple of daughters, and the brother was unmarried and childless. The brother and Mary got into a bit of a fight over some land that they owned together here in Memphis, and there was a civil case trying to determine who was going to get the wealth from that piece of land. In the midst of the civil case, Mary's brother accused Mary of murdering her husband. She was then charged with that crime, and while she was in prison, she was a little upset with her brother. She was also upset with her sister, who she thought took her brother's side in the fight. Jasper, however, took Mary's side. He visited her every single day when she was in jail. And after she was acquitted of that murder charge, she changed her will and left all of her wealth to her husband, Jasper. After Mary died, Jasper inherited the money, and 2 years later, he mysteriously disappeared. He was living in a mansion on Madison Avenue with some of his nieces at the time, and he had an appointment the next day with his lawyer. That night, before he left, he showed his niece that he was carrying a good bit of cash with him. He then went out on the town in Memphis. He was known as a drinker, but not really a heavy drinker. But the last he was seen was in an area of town known as Whiskey Chute. It was an alleyway where there were a lot of bars and saloons. And after that, Jasper was never seen again. To this day, no one knows what happened to Jasper Smith. After Jasper's disappearance, the money that he had inherited from Mary went to his family, his two sisters, and his nieces. Mary's nieces then filed suit against the estate of Jasper Smith, declaring that the will was invalid. It was a very long civil case, but in the end, Jasper, even though he had disappeared, won. After Jasper was declared dead 7 years after his disappearance, his sisters inherited the money and had a large monument erected in Jasper's memory. It's what we call a cenotaph, which means that it is dedicated to the memory of Jasper, but Jasper is not here because we still do not know to this day what happened to Jasper Smith. They also, at the time, erected two large monuments to themselves. It caused quite a stir when the public saw these monuments because even though Ruth and Eliza were pretty elderly when they died, the monuments, the statues that they erected of themselves were of much younger women. In front of Jasper's monument, you'll see a lion. And on the base of the lion, it states, "I guard the memory of Jasper Smith." It's interesting that on the cenotaph of Jasper is a monument to his wife Mary, who actually is buried here at Elmwood, along with Eliza and Ruth Smith, Jasper's sisters.